Hello, guys. We are back. So, this is the second part of our discussion on managing external relations for small businesses. So, if you haven't watched the first part, I will put down the link below or nalagay ko dito sa taas. Dito ba? So, anyway, let us continue our discussion. So I think we stopped or we have discussed last time the different legitimacy indicators for people-based, product-based, and organization-based. So let us now continue our discussion. Okay. I think we stopped here. Okay. So we will continue with the next one. It's all about the networking. So we have this connotation that networking is something negative. Kumbaga parang recruit lang siya. But then, okay, in having a business class, very, very important na meron kang connections. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng networking. So this means that in for you to become successful, you need people. So sabi nga nila, no man is an island. And you need each other. And at the same time, aside from no man is an island. Sabi dito, sabi sa isang kasabihan, do not burn bridges. So, do not burn bridges means, for example, wag mong, alam mo yun, kapag may away ganyan, never ever build the connection between you. Kasi, malay mo, sa susunod, meron ka palang kailangan sa kanya, ganyan, na-burn mo na yung bridge. So, kailangan magkaroon ka ng network kasi syempre, dapat pagtatanungan kayo saan ang magandang pagkukuhanan ng ganitong product, ng ganitong packaging, yung ganon. So, these are all your networks. So, these are the tips, ayan, in networking. So, sabi dito, electronic social networks are usually fast and easy to develop as well as often free, especially now. Face-to-face social networks often have membership costs but offer the all-important personal touch as well as those all-important local connections. So, usually sa mga party, di ba, nagkakaroon ng connections. Totoo, yun yung mga napapanood nyo sa K-drama, ganyan. When either type of social network works, it can produce results from unexpected sources. While the personal connection from face-to-face networking is always a great thing to have, if you cannot easily develop a large face-to-face network in your community, industry, or market, electronic social networking is the best to go, especially here. Ayan. So, ito yun, I think. So, these are the tips. Make it easy for people to contact you. This often means giving one of your email or social network addresses. Ayan. So, if you are not comfortable giving your personal number, you should have a business phone, business email, something like that. Take the initiative to ask others on the network, including colleagues from school, work, and friends and family to link with you and then help them out online. So if it's difficult for you to have face-to-face connections, you can message them online. So find and link up with network mavens. So network mavens are people who like to gather and share their enormous networks and help out whenever you can. So may mga ganun tayong friends. Ang dami-daming connections. Feeling ko, wala special mention, pero sa atin kasi sa BSBA, feeling ko talaga ang network maven talaga si Sir Tom. So every time I need this, lumatahan ako ng ganito, saan maganda ganito, lagi kong tinatanong talaga si Sir Tom. If you know him, kung naging teacher na, yun na siya. Kasi siya talaga yung network maven, ang dami-dami connections. Ang dami mong connections. It's a good thing to have a lot of connections. So, kung friendly ka, ganyan, it's a great advantage for you. Keep at it. Successful online networking requires consistent involvement. It can be weekly, but it needs to be every week. So, kung mapapansin nyo rin, in Lazada or Shopee, meron yung nakalagay na dapat kung gaano kabilis kang mag-message. I think sa Facebook Messenger din, nakalagay doon, usually response in an hour or in one day, ganyan. So, magandang indicator din yun na lagi kayong active. Okay. So, speaking of social networking sites, yan. So, the most popular social networks worldwide as of January 21 is, this is sourced from Statista. Magagamit niyo itong site na to if you are working on your thesis, ganyan. So, this is yung nasa book niya, I think 2016. So, this is the latest one na meron sa Statista. This is in millions. So, ibig sabihin, yung figures dyan is 2,740, lagyan nyo ng 6 digits. So, ilan na yun? Billions? Trillions? Okay. So, billion siya, right? So, 2,740,000 ang active users daw. So, at the same time, second is YouTube. Wow, YouTube channel. Third is WhatsApp. I think this is parang messaging app din siya. Next is Messenger. Imagine mo, fourth ang Messenger. So, under din siya ng Facebook. Yan. Next is Instagram. So, meron din tayong WeChat, TikTok, QQ. I think this is a Chinese messaging app. Yan, TikTok, alam niyo yan, Douyin, not really familiar. Yung Weibo, I think, sa ano rin to, 500 million ang active users niya. I think sa China din. Telegram, I actually use Telegram kasi ang dali-dali. Para siyang messenger, pero pwede ka mag-send ng messages. Pwede ka mag-send ng files, mga PDF, ganyan. And of course, is Snapchat. So, kung sabi nga niya, if you can build your network face-to-face, especially in this pandemic, you can build it in the social networking sites. I think hindi nakalagay dito yung mga LinkedIn, pero yung LinkedIn class, I suggest you to have that, especially kapag nag-work na kayo kasi para siyang Facebook ng mga professionals. So, those are purely business, purely tungkol sa work, may mga tips, ganyan, may mga nagre-recruit din doon sa LinkedIn, ganyan, and you can only have one account, para siyang business account. So, very, very formal yung LinkedIn, but then it is a good networking site. Okay. The next one that you can ways on how you can manage external relations is yung pag-handle ng crisis. So these are the tips in handling a crisis. I think we have 6 or 7 tips. So the first one is admit you're in trouble quickly. It's better to say if there's a problem, I will find it and fix it than to delay an admission until fact-finding is done. That is right. Hindi lang ito sa business, but rather in reality. If you cannot recognize that you have a problem, then you cannot solve it. So, ibig sabihin, if you have a problem at dinideny mo yon, you cannot even solve it kasi hindi mo siya na-recognize as one. Diba? So, admit you're in trouble. Second, get to the scene as soon as possible. Your job, show caring and accountability. Okay, especially if you're handling people, kapag may nangyari, you should be able to show your care. Yung accountability means, although may kasalanan yung employee mo, you have to support them, ganyan. Hindi yung papayain mo sa harap ng customer, mga ganyan na tips lang. Communicate facts you know and those you don't to employees, customers, and suppliers. That's right. So, lalo na sa mga employees kasi they have to handle your business. So, if you can't communicate properly what they should do, ganyan, ibig sabihin, wala silang full information to handle this problem. So, for example, basta ang dito is be honest. Kung what you don't know, hindi ko alam to, baka nagkaroon ng ganitong problema. For me, it's being proactive. You have to anticipate the problems before it happens. Okay, the next tip is have one person serve as the firm's spokesperson. So it is best that it can be the owner, but an articulate employee, family member, or outside professional, for example, the lawyer who can stand in. So, it is very important that merong isa talaga na alam niya lahat, he or she is articulate, ibig sabihin magaling siyang magsalita, he can communicate well, alam niya yung mga pasikot-sikot, magaling siyang mag-negotiate, yung ganon. So, one of the skills talaga na gusto kong matutunan is yung negotiation skills. And of course, dapat hindi yung masyadong arrogante, dapat yung humble, na nakakaalam ng lahat kung ano para makapag-come up sa best decision for the company. So, is pag small business naman usually the owner, unless big event talaga siya or big problem na kailangan mo ng lawyer. Yan. Separate crisis management from the everyday management of the firm. So if you're doing both, try to take time to do each separately. Yan. Delegate as much as possible of the everyday management to employees or family while you concentrate on dealing with the crisis. So crisis means siguro may theft, ganyan, makukonsider siguro natin or something na nalulugi. So meron ka everyday na pinagdadaanan, meron ka pang crisis. So kailangan mo yung mapagsabay. Kailangan mo yung mapagsabay i-respond. So kailangan mo siyang i-separate para ma-respond mo siya both. Kasi pag naghahalo yan, for example, yung everyday operation, syempre, nakaka-apekto rin on how you do things. So, deal with the crisis quickly. Take steps to solve the problem and make the process of dealing with the problem as open as possible. That is right. So, immediate response is the key. Okay. The next one is all about achieving sustainability. One of the feeling ko mula dati, ang isa sa mga pinaka-paborito kong word talaga is sustainability. Okay. If you are not familiar with sustainability, ito yung meaning niya. Please take note of it. So, sustainability focuses on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So, I'll repeat that. It focuses on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So, ibig sabihin, something is sustainable if we can enjoy it now, but the future generations, mga apo nyo, mga granddaughters or great-granddaughters or grandsons, great-grandsons ay ma-achieve pa rin nila yun, ay ma-i-enjoy pa rin nila kung ano ang na-enjoy natin ngayon. So, we should be aiming to have sustainable water. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, if we enjoy water now, does it mean na sustainable means meron pa rin water in the future? Or meron tayong gagawin ngayon para mas matipid at yung mga future family, yung mga generations na susunod sa atin ay ma-enjoy pa rin nila. Okay, so that is sustainability. So in this one, meron tayong tinatawag na sustainable entrepreneurship. So it is an approach to the operation of the firm, the line of business of the firm, or both, which identifies or creates and then exploits opportunities to make a profit in a manner that minimizes the depletion of natural resources, maximizes the use of recycled material, improves the environment, or any combination of this outcome. So kung meron tayong green marketing is part of sustainable entrepreneurship. So based on research, yung mga tao daw mas tinatangkilik nila yung mga companies na merong ganito na mga environment friendly, based on trends kasi yung mga tao mas nagiging aware sila, mas naging environment friendly sila. So if you are someone na environment friendly din, syempre itatangkilik mo din yung the same sa'yo. So recently nga 'di ba parang may kung nakita niyo yun yung sa Garnier pala daw yung banggit nun. So they partner with Shopee, gumawa sila ng parang packaging na imbis na plastic made of cassava. So pwede mo siyang lagyan ng mainit na tubig tapos matutunaw na siya. Okay. So or it degrades or it's biodegradable. Okay. Yun yung legit na biodegradable kasi yung iba kasi hindi naman legit yung mga yun. So positive outcomes along these lines are described as greener, so the approach is also sometimes called green entrepreneurship. Yeah. So Ano ba ang pwedeng gawin ng company? Of course, pwede natin ibalik yung reduce, reuse, and recycle. I really appreciate, although, ano kasi, kunyari sa online shopping, ang bukod sa gumagastos ako, ang pinaka nagigilty talaga ako is kapag yung mga packaging, yung mga plastic, ang dami-daming bubble wrap na hindi na ginagamit. Ngayon, medyo na-recycle namin yung bubble wrap. So, if you have bubble wrap na maayos pa, ganyan, you can donate. Sige, basta may pinagagamitan kami. My sisters are actually selling in Shopee. Yan. Tapos, yung mga ano naman, yung packaging ng JNT, yun talaga ang medyo hindi ko alam kung paano gagawin. Pero kung naalala niyo yung pinagawa ko sa inyo dati ng mga parang bottles, nilalagay yung plastic, I hope you could do that at home. Ayan. So, marami naman siyang purpose kasi ginagawa nga yung mga sa parang bakod, ganyan, sa ibang lugar, you can search for it. So, yung mga yon as entrepreneurs can do quite a lot to manage their firm's impact on the environment. So, lalo na ang recycling, paggamit ng recycling. I think merong survey doon sa libro na hindi ko na siya in-include dito kasi parang US survey siya kung ilang percent ba ang na-recycle, ganyan. Okay. I think we are nearing the end. So next topic here is all about making ethical decisions. But first, we should define what is ethics. So a system of values that people consider in determining whether actions are right or wrong. So your idea of right or wrong is your ethics. So ano, wala siyang ethics, not ethical, ganyan. Unethical yan, so it's wrong, ganyan. Di ba? Ginagamit natin usually to. So meron tayong tinatawag dito na ethical dilemma. A situation that occurs when a person's values are in conflict, making it unclear whether a particular decision is the right thing to do. Meron akong na-encounter na ganito eh. Hindi ko nasa dulo ng dila ko, pero ilalagay ko sa description box pag maalala ko. Ano na yon? Ayun, naalala ko na, it's actually cognitive dissonance na parang ganun din. Sa loob naman ng company ko, if you can remember your HBO, parang ang cognitive dissonance is meron kang ginagawa sa loob ng company na hindi mo gusto pero kailangan mong gawin. Parang it's against your values, ganyan. Ethical dilemma din yun. So, meron yung time na kailangan mong mag-desisyon na magka-conflict siya sa values mo on what you believe in, ganyan. So, nagkakaroon ka ng ethical dilemma kasi hindi mo alam kung yun yung tama or hindi. Yan. So, next is ethical decision making for small business. So, meron tayong 3 steps dito. It's adapted from Laruti Hosmer, The Ethics of Management, back in 2008. So, meron tayong 3 steps in ethical decision making for small business. First is defining the moral problem. Second is generate alternatives that meet your ethical, legal, and economic goals. And last is yung implement the best solution and monitor the situation. So, meron tayo dyang nakalagay na monitoring, pabalik ka sa una para makita mo kung meron effectives talaga o hindi. So, isa-isahin natin. First is defining the moral problem. To determine the moral dimension of a problem, you need to carefully think the problem through. So for small businesses, meron daw 4 questions used to define the moral problem. So you can take note of this. Okay, number 1. So you should answer or you should take a look at the first question. Who will be hurt? Okay, and how much? So obviously, more hurt is worse, but you also need to consider how likely recovery is and how long will it take to recover. Okay, so more hurt is worse, so kailangan mong i-weigh. Sino ang mga maapektuhan, gaano ka-grave, ganyan. Second is who will benefit and how much. So a tiny benefit for many is often of little use. Think of those class action lawsuits that end up giving each of millions in claimants a few dollars off of their purchase. So the overall size of the benefit needs to be weighed against the number of benefit and balanced against the cost of the harm done to others by the solution. Okay, the third question that you should consider in defining the moral problem is, what do you or your firm owe others? When you make a decision, it should reflect your real or presumed obligations to people, institutions in your firm, and its task environment. So it's all about medyo moral decision, right? Moral decision na what do I do now in order to conquer yung ethical dilemma ko. So yung fourth is, you should answer, what do others owe you? Just as you and your firm make a commitment to others, they make commitments to you and your firm. Depending on the decision, there may be obligations from others or forms of support you can expect that help make doing the ethical thing easier on you or the other party involved. Okay, so after you define the moral problem, which is quite harder than you think, once you define the moral problem you face, you need to generate a variety of alternatives to handle it. These alternatives need to be well weighted to find the best one. So at this stage, it makes the sense to compare the alternatives to the economic, legal, and ethical industries of your firm, industry, and community. Okay. So meron tayo ditong tinatawag na workable solutions. So workable solutions class are those that meet your ethical, legal, and economic goals. So your workable solutions, doon kayo pipili what best solution to implement and monitor to solve your moral problem. Okay. So, meron din dyan, although hindi ko siya masyadong ma-incorporate dito, yung meron kasing junk term na pwede nating magamit yung caveat emptor. A Latin expression that means let the buyer beware, which has been made into philosophy sometimes used by businesses to put the burden for consumer protection onto the customer. Ay, dapat aware ka dyan, ganyan. So, caveat emptor yan. Ibig sabihin, dahil hindi siya aware, mas kailangan kasalanan niya, parang siyang victim blaming din sa mga customer. Okay, it's something negative. Okay. And of course, this is the last, I think, last topic here, but not the last slide. Meron tayong 4 philosophies used to check solutions. Okay. So, ibig sabihin nun, you can follow this for you to check if tama ang solution na pinili nyo. So, number 1 is yung golden rule. Golden rule is something very, 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 very common. I think elementary pa lang yata tayo, alam na natin. So, do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. That is that ethical rule. Now, you treat others in the manner you wish to be treated. So, wag mong gawin sa ibang ayaw mong gawin sa iyo. So, the question here is, am I treating others the way I want to be treated? Yan. Second is Utilitarianism. So it's an ethical model that supports seeking the greatest good for the greatest number of people. This one is my solution the best thing for the most people over the long time? So ibig sabihin nun, you choose daw the solution na makakapag-benefit sa marami at for a long time. So mas mahabang oras. Okay. Third one is universalism, an ethical model that suggests that there is a code of right and wrong that everyone can see and follow. So the question here is, what if everyone did I want to do? What kind of world would it be? So this our code of right and wrong that everyone can see and follow. Okay, so medyo ano siya na philosophical. And yung last is yung tinatawag nating Billboard Principle. So an ethical model that asks whether someone would be comfortable having his or her decision and name advertised on a billboard for a public to see. So very interesting to ha. Ito yung isa sa mga nakita ko interesting while reading this a while ago. What if my decision were advertised on a billboard? If you have tried ways to think this through and still can decide whether you plan to do or ethical, you can try this one. So this as whether you'd be comfortable advertising on a billboard for everyone to see. So you could answer the question, will I be proud if makikita ko yung name ko, tas ito yung contribution ko, ito yung ginawa ko? Kasi pag nahiya ka, ay, ano, itong decision ko pa lang to, ano, maraming na-o-offend. Ganyan. May madalas gano'n na sa mga TV shows na very insensitive, ganyan. Will you be proud seeing your name with the decision you had? Kasi pag hindi, ibig sabihin, it's not the right solution. So picture it in your mind. Would you be proud to see your potential course of action up there in giant letters? Would you be ashamed what others think worse of you if they think what you had done to resolve your ethical dilemma? Pag na-news ba, would you be proud? Would you be, ay, parang nakakahiya pala. It's very embarrassing. Ano? So, pwede mong gamitin yan. Okay. So, sabi dito, ethical decision making probably represents one of the most complex and difficult kinds of external relations management situations you will have to face. Often the stakes may be as high as your reputation or even your entire business. So, kailangan talagang pag-isipan ko, and sometimes it comes with experience. The more you have problems, the more you know what to do in the future. Okay. So, sabi dito, you can also minimize the need for high-pressure ethical decision makings by integrating the first na part ng discussion natin, yung integrating the lessons of legitimacy, social networking, crisis management, sustainability, and ethical decision making in your everyday activities into the structure of your business. So, ibig sabihin, if you follow the 5 tips naman, mas malaking chance that you would have to face this high pressure, nerve-wracking decisions that you have to make. And how do you do this on everyday basis? You can read the approaches on page 74 to 75. Okay, I think that is the end of my discussion. Thank you for listening. And of course, before we end this, I hope you can comment down below your takeaways. Okay, kahit Tagalog man yan, you can do so. What is your favorite part? What is your favorite learning? How can you apply it in real life? Ganyan. And of course, in our next synchronous class, I will be asking some of you also to share these takeaways with your classmates. So, yan. For now, you comment it first and I will really read them. And to end this, okay, I will leave this quote. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. This is, actually, sinabi ko rin to sa mga first year sa last sem. Because, as you know, in this time, we are really going back to zero with all the cases, ang dami ulit cases, hindi pa rin nakakabangon yung economy natin, wala pa rin face-to-face classes, unlike yung mga other countries talaga na meron na silang face-to-face, they are living normally, pero we cannot move on with that stage at parang bumabalik pa sa umpisa. With all the cases rising, we may feel anxious, we may feel worried, we may feel, we may feel tired. Okay, but remember that you're struggling now, especially that you are studying through these difficult times and then online class pa yun, dami activities. It's preparing you towards bigger rewards in the future. Yun yung sinasabi ko lagi because God will not give you something that you cannot handle. You always remember that. And with all these hardships, God is preparing you to something more beautiful. Remember that. So, it's gonna be worth it. So, please lang. It's gonna be 1 year or 1 year na lang, di ba? Before kayo graduate, parang isang sem na nga lang nakakaltas OJT na. So, I remember that I always letter back if you have questions, if you need someone to talk to with this kasi we are feeling the same. We're on the same boat. I am feeling this negativities, but I try to get over it. I can share some insights with you, ganyan, and I will be here as your friend. Ayun. So, I hope you are feeling okay. I hope you're all safe. So, huwag kayong lalabas if hindi naman kailangan. Ayan. So, I hope you have a chill day. Yun, ingat kayo lagi. I hope you learned a thing or two with our discussion. Ayan. Part Gugum and Part Sujun saying goodbye and thank you. Fighting, guys. Kaya natin to. So, just pray and God will really, really help us along the way. So I hope I inspired you, and of course, remember that as long as you do your best, okay na yun. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Please turn on the notification bell for the next video. I'll see you next week. Bye. I hope I made sense. Bye.